Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Obviously, with the Season 2 Reloaded update, we saw the huge update to core health in Battle Royale, where we went from 250 max health to 300. We've talked a lot in the past couple of days about how that affects the weapon meta. What we haven't talked about, though, is how this actually affects the perk meta, because there are now some pretty interesting conversations to be had regarding the perks, including some stealth changes to a few of them as well. As we break everything down today, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. It really does help the channel grow. And if you're new here, or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with everything going on in COD. News, updates, loadouts, tips, you'll find it all right here. So feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. And also right now, my G Fuel discount code WhosImmortal is still boosted to get you 30% off your entire order on the G Fuel site. So if you want to grab anything at all from there, now is the best time to do so. Link for that will be down in the description below. So when we look at our general perk layout, honestly, this really hasn't changed much since Warzone dropped, if I'm being honest. I mean, for a long time, the meta has been EOD, or double time is in there as well. Overkill primarily first in perk 2 to get 2 primary weapons, then amped, or more recently combat scout as well. But with Season 2 Reloaded, like I said, it does seem like there were some actual stealth changes, but also some pretty important updates to some other perks that now could be a lot more useful with that 300 health. So we'll go tier by tier, perk category by perk category, and break down what is now essentially a lot more useful and maybe what you want to try messing around with on your loadouts. I think this really does come down to preference in a lot of ways. If you're someone who finds themselves running into a lot of explosives, yeah, EOD could be a big benefit to have. If you're someone who likes to rush around like crazy, double time is great for that increased movement, so on and so forth. Like, a lot of this is personalization based. A lot of this, though, is also meta based, right? So when it comes down to perk 1, double time, you can't go wrong with. Like, it is a great perk to have, especially, like I said, if you are an aggressive player, because you're getting that increased movement with the double duration of tac sprint. Perfect for playing mad aggressive with subs, trying to push things, go for high kills, stuff like that. It's a perfect perk for that. EOD, as I just mentioned, also you really can't go wrong with, because there's constant explosives in this game, whether it be the gas canisters, frags, semtexes, things like rockets now even as well. This is going to help protect against that, so that could be very beneficial for that as well. This one more so relies on your enemies using certain things, though, which to me is a bit of a drawback for that. Scavenger, completely useless. You get ammo every single time you kill somebody. There's no point in running this, right? Cold-blooded is decent. I don't think it's the most important thing. Really, what I would say is the biggest advantage of using cold-blooded right now is that it's a counter to combat scout, which is just getting used and abused at the moment, right? We'll get obviously to that when we talk about perk 3, but cold-blooded's real only benefit to me is that counter to combat scout. It's good for plunder, like when the helicopters come in, but to me, cold-blooded's not super important. Neither is kill chain. Quick fix, though, ended up getting a stealth update with Season 2 Reloaded. I actually got a couple of messages about this over the weekend, and I think Jay was talking about it earlier today on Twitter as well. Killing players and inserting plates now immediately starts that health regen, which, as we know, you get 50 extra base health now. That's very important. That's 2 to 3 shots per weapon that you're gaining that health back, and making it much more difficult for the enemies to actually get you downed or eliminated when you start regenning your base health the second you start plating. So that is a very advantageous thing to have. Now, keep in mind that health regen delay is skipped if you're meleeing somebody with your gun, if you're meleeing them with a melee weapon, or if you're throwing knifing them. So those knocks aren't going to give you that instant regen. Health regen rate is also doubled if you're carrying or capturing objective. That doesn't really matter too much in core battle royale, right? But quick fix did see that stealth buff, where now anytime you go to put plates in, if you're damaged with your core health, you are going to start healing up. And that, like I said, is very important. So now quick fix could be a very good perk to run if you're someone who likes to chow fights like that. You know, maybe when you're at a disadvantage, 1v2, 2v3, 1v3, whatever the case may be. That's really got a lot of potential there. Now, looking at perk 2, this is easily the most competitive category in my opinion. I love restock. Obviously, I use overkill on all my base loadouts just so I can have a Bren and a well gun, an AK and an Owen gun, whatever that combination is. But I always try and get that second loadout so I can personally get restock, so I can recharge my throwing knives, don't have to worry about always going and getting them back off of a finish, and I can restock my stims. Now, keep in mind the stim recharge rate is slower than other things here, but it's still very beneficial to use, especially again as an aggressive player, because I can get my base health up, but also get that speed boost, which personally is why I run them, to sort of get that finesse factor in them. So restock, still a great perk to run. Hardline, absolutely useless yet again. It's cool when you get specialist bonus and you can get the decreased prices, but it's not worth running over anything else here. Tempered is a very important one to talk about here because, again, with this health increase, it is now extremely advantageous because you can get to that full 300 health quicker than if you weren't using tempered, right? Obviously, you have your base 150 health. You put on one plate, you're going to be at 225 health because each plate is worth 75 armor points. So you're going from, instead of having 100 base health and then 2 plates to be 200 health, you're going from a base health of 150 with one plate to 225. So, I mean, it's the numbers sort of speak for themselves, right? This allows you to get fully, healed very quickly and allows you to rechow a lot quicker, which could throw enemies off guard. So, running something like, say, Quick Fix and Tempered together, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with because you're going to be so hard to fully take down. You start plating, you get your health regen instantly, and you get more plate health faster. So those two together could really be a very lethal combo. More so in a defensive way, but also aggressive players can really use that to their advantage in certain situations. I really think those two, in my opinion, are the biggest changes here. Having the stealth buffs to Quick Fix here, but then also the changes to Tempered with the health that make it now even more beneficial and advantageous, like I said. So very interesting combination potential there for a very quick full heal loadout in mind. Overkill we already talked about. High Alert's cool. I just don't think it's more beneficial than some of these other options. You could definitely get away with that though. Here's an interesting one, Ghost. Now, I've been hearing things on the internets that Ghost has received a stealth nerf. Now, I have not been able to test this, but I have seen some players say, and some people over on Reddit and Twitter say that now, if you're using Ghost, you're only protected if you're moving. If you're standing still, if you're crouched, or you're just not moving, you're going to show up on the radar. It's really hard to test that in a live environment unless you have other people, jumping in the same game with you on a different team. And personally, I just don't have the means for that because where I'm at, it's impossible to get in lobbies with my friends if we're not queuing together. I've tested for hours before and not been able to do it. So unfortunately, it's annoying to go in and test that. But based off what I've heard, Ghost potentially does have a stealth nerf here, which would be pretty huge. Make it work like Ghost has in previous COD games before MW 2019. That said, Ghost is still a very popular perk and plenty of players run it. It's not a bad perk to run by any means. I'm not a fan of it. You guys have heard me preach about this before, but it's not a bad choice whatsoever. Then Point Man, cool if you're trying to rank up weapons and, get the contract bonuses. Other than that, though, it's not really super useful. So quick recap so far. Perk 1, Double Time, EOD, Quick Fix, all great choices. Perk 2, Restock, Tempered, Overkill, High Alert, Ghost, all great choices. Getting into Perk 3 now, this is where things really, in my opinion, are not competitive at all. Tune-up, reduce the charge time of field upgrades, and reduce revive time. That's all right, but it's very niche and relies on your teammates going down, which is not fun, so I don't find that to be super useful. Amped, obviously, with the faster weapon swap is great. Now, on Vanguard weapons, you can use certain grips to get a faster weapon swap, and you don't have to run Amped in that case, hence why so many players are running Combat Scout now, which is probably the most powerful perk in Perk 3. I like to go for something like a fabric grip or a polymer grip on most of my Vanguard weapons rather than weapon swap speed, so I still run Amped. Also, I just think Combat Scout's very cheesy and I don't like to use it, so I don't, but there's no denying it's clearly a very popular perk and a very powerful perk. Literally getting wall hacks for a few seconds at a time is massively advantageous, so there's a clear number one choice here, and that is Combat Scout. Amped, though, is always a close second, and both of those are still meta after the update. Shrapnel, not really super useful because you can pick up more nades off the ground or use Restock to get more nades as well. Battle Hardened, stuns, flashes just aren't really super popular at the moment, so it's all right, but it does depend a lot on enemies using these certain things. Engineers, Sing, Equipment, not really super advantageous in my opinion. And then Tracker is only useful close range, so I'm not really a huge fan of that. Also, as I'm recording this, I did just see on Twitter, True Game Data, Tony, he talked about how, yes, in private matches, Ghost currently only hides you if you're moving. So we're not 100% sure if that's in the live environment yet, but it has been updated in private matches. So that's something to take into consideration. Ghost is no longer as powerful as it was before. But really, the main focuses here have to do with Quick Fix and Tempered now being way better than they were before because this health increase and also the stealth buff to Quick Fix as well. So very important to note that those perks might make you want to, change things up a little bit in an area that we really haven't seen too much change in quite some time. That said, though, that is going to wrap things up for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD. So feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.